The Ecocha Tea Club offers singular batches of select Taiwan tea along with their stories about what makes them special. And batch number 57 is a top award-winning Dong Ding Cui Yu Oolong that was entered into the Spring 2020 competition at the Nantou County Tea Trade Association. It's an association that specifically promotes teas from the Mingjian and Jushan township areas, lower elevation, just below the mountain where Lugu, and further up the mountain is Shanlinshi, high mountain tea growing region. Lugu, of course, being the home of Dong Ding Oolong Tea. But Jushan and Mingjian have their own histories along with Lugu for producing tea in the era that preceded commercial production of tea, basically pre-1970s or so, when tea was, the growing of tea was subsidized by the government to develop the agricultural industry here. So the name is kind of a mouthful. Dongding meaning the style of tea that is most well known coming from Lugu. It really denotes a processing method that is has its roots in traditional tea, traditional oolong tea making. And namely, what that comes down to is a significant amount of oxidation of the leaves and then subsequent roasting after the leaves are completely processed. So Tsui Yu is Tai Cha number 13, following Jinxuan Tai Cha number 12. And they were both released in the 1980s to offer some differentiation in the tea types that were grown here. Tsui Yu is known for its fragrant character. It has a specifically herbal, kind of vibrant green character when it's made in the lightly oxidized version, unroasted. But then it handles roasting well. They're using this strain of tea to make a version of Dong Ding Oolong that is most renowned coming from Lugu, as we've said. So there you have it, Dong Ding Cui Yu Oolong from Songboling, a historical tea growing and tea making region in the southern Nantou County. And our friends have been playing in this competition for a number of years, probably since it started, and have won first place award 3 times in the last several years, and continue pretty much every competition to get at least one entry of top category prize, which means the top 5%. And that is what this batch of tea is. It ranked within the top 5%. And the only reason we're able to share it is that they bought enough, they wanted to enter 3 batches. And after de-stemming and sorting the leaves to make them very uniform and clean, and then roasting them extensively, both of those steps reduce the overall quantity significantly. But this batch did achieve the top 5% award, and there was enough for us to procure to share with our tea club, which we're very happy. And when it's not roasted so heavily, I feel that there's more complexity to be enjoyed in a traditionally made oolong tea. And this has that. It has that caramel kind of nutty character to it, just like a Dongding should. I have a taste. Yeah, the roast factor is surely there, but it has that oolong. One of the most characteristic things of a traditionally made oolong for me is this kind of initial bite on your tongue. There's that bitter quality combined with the sweetness that says, wow, that's interesting. That's a complex profile of flavors in there. And our friends told us when we drilled questions to them about this batch of tea that they procure their Tsui Yu for competition from one farmer only, who invests more, basically just takes, invests more money, takes more care and time, and then of course skill in the processing to produce a standard of quality that's noticeably above the market grade Tsui Yu that's available. And I believe that the majority, if not all of his tea, is bought by local competition players that take it home, destem it, and sort it and roast it themselves to enter into competition. And our friends did mention that not only they, but other people who source this tea have achieved first place prize in this competition. So the tea grower is evidently hot stuff, so to speak, in his local community. It's really a nice tea. You can see by the coloration that it was oxidized skillfully. It's not red. Along with roasting, I mean, this is more of a golden color than a reddish color for sure. So I put about 8 grams of tea in this pot. I believe is about 130, 135 milliliters. So roughly a 1:16 ratio of tea leaves to water, something like that. Our standard is 1:15. I think with this roasted tea that has been so well groomed, so to speak, there's very little stem material in here. It brews more concentrated, so you can use a little bit less tea. Start out light and get the more subtle, complex flavor notes, and then you can increase the ratio of leaf to water if you want to see how far you can push it to get a more powerful punch in your brew, so to speak. Obviously, I'm roughly brewing it for something like a minute. I'm talking a lot, but I think this tea is fine with that. It's not too fickle. Yeah, I'd say the opened leaves after the third brew are filling the pot to 80–85% capacity. A lot of room in there for them to breathe. You don't want to pack your pot too much. It concentrates the tea to the point of kind of dulling it in terms of its complexity, and then possibly just getting too strong overall. Definitely some roast. Yeah, there's some Huawei in there, but there's a smoothness and a viscosity to it and a freshness. You can get that kind of vibrancy of a fresh tea as well. Mingjian and Songboling in particular now produces a better quality of tea, and the people there are investing more and managing their farms and working a little harder in the processing to raise the bar of their quality control. And that's what we are excited about, and that is specifically what this competition is about. They're encouraging farmers to use their skills to make a more interesting and better quality tea. And that's part of the industry that we want to show up for and show that there is a foreign consumer demand. If there's anything, the most basic role that we can play here in the local industry is to show these local tea producers that the world outside is very interested in what they're doing. And of course, we like to share it with you. So there you have it, top award-winning Dong Ding Cui Yu Oolong Tea from Spring 2020 Nantou County Tea Trade Association competition. It's just one more tea for us to experience and enjoy, get a sense of what Tsui Yu in its roasted form is like. By the way, our source of the roasted Tsui Yu that we sell is the one and the same as this competition player. And they mentioned to us that the tea that they prepare for this competition that doesn't quite hit the mark and doesn't get entered goes into their stock of this market grade, but it's just their produce for this type of tea. So the tea that we're getting on an ongoing basis is basically prepared the same way. It has been destemmed and sorted and roasted to reach the standard of this competition. So we have this type of tea on an ongoing basis. This particular batch is an exemplary sampling of that type of tea. Thanks for being with us, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, click that like button, and share this video with anyone that you think might enjoy it. We'll see you next month.